What is up, y'all? It's your boy Steph, back with another reaction. And this time we have Creepypasta Jr. The apartment next door is supposed to be empty. It's not. Creepypasta. Uploaded November 7th, 2018. The description says, every apartment has some weird sounds to it. Some are more disturbing than others. That's debatable. But it sounds creepy, so without further ado, let's get into it. From someone who's lived in a couple of apartments and who's about to move into their own first one-bedroom apartment, this kind of correlates with that.
I moved into my apartment complex 2 months ago. I started hearing things a week later.
Should have moved out.
It was subtle at first. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I would wake up to a faint scratching sound from somewhere behind the walls.
How cliche.
I thought it could be mice, or rats, perhaps. I have lived through enough crappy one-bedroom apartments in Manhattan to recognize the signs. Droppings on the floor, tiny holes in the plaster, an unending scratching that sounds like 1,000 little feet marching to the beat of my headache.
Damn near.
My symptoms fit the bill. It had to be a mouse. And so I put out traps. The internet says the best way to catch a rat is peanut butter. So I slathered spoonfuls of the stuff all over the fresh Tomcat traps.
That does work.
Amazon's best. I went to bed with the expectation that a fat rodent would be dead in my living room by the following morning.
At least for mice.
I laid awake eagerly awaiting their demise.
Personal experience.
But it was raining a lot that night. After I turned off the TV, I tried to listen for the sounds of my furry friends falling for the bait. But the storm overtook almost every sound. Cracks of thunder shook the glassware on my kitchen counter. Water found its way inside through the cracks and spaces between the window's framing. I had to put a towel down. The now dripping water started to annoy me more than the rats ever did in the first place.
The struggle.
But somewhere, underneath it all, I heard something else. Something a lot more frightening than rats.
Like what?
It was a voice.
Oh.
A woman's voice. Whispering.
Help me.
I never really believed in the paranormal. I told people that a lot. I never saw signs or spirits like everybody else seemed to.
I can't help you.
Part of my subconscious felt like maybe this was my comeuppance.
What?
The ghosts on the street had heard me talking crap and now they were coming after me.
That ain't
Maybe
funny.
just to show me who's boss, so to speak.
That shit ain't funny.
And I had nothing for protection.
Hell no.
Nobody to verify my experiences.
Camera.
I lived alone in the middle of a lightly occupied skyrise. A demon or poltergeist could easily screw with me all they wanted.
Yeah.
And so I pulled the sheets up to my chin, while the scratching started to overtake the storm,
Like that's gonna
along with my rationality.
It's time to move, ain't it?
The constant repetition of "help me" floated further through the walls. She started growing louder, more urgent. My fear-paralyzed mind told me that she was getting closer. I knew that was impossible, but I couldn't take it anymore. I got out of bed and marched out of my apartment, nearly stepping on the unoccupied rat trap myself. The building kept a guard on desk duty throughout the night. He needed to know about the voice.
Yeah.
I hopped in the elevator with sweatpants and no socks. When it opened on the ground level, a surprise security guard waited for me behind the desk. "Sir, are you okay? Can you check if the apartment next to me is occupied?" The tall man furrowed his brow worriedly as he eyed my evening wear with distaste. He wore an official-looking blue button shirt with black slacks, with a radio clipped to the belt. "We really should not divulge. Somebody's been screaming 'help me' all night. I think they're in trouble, but I haven't seen anyone go in there." The man looked worried as he pounded into the small laptop placed on the desk. "All right, sir, what's the apartment number?" 522. Well, we haven't rented many units up there since we took over. That's what I thought. Yep. 522 and 524 are empty, sir. You have one other tenant at the other end of your floor. Maybe you heard his television. The walls here are pretty thin, sir. And we are actively working on the rodent issue. I think we should still call the police. The man flashed a smile that made goosebumps crawl across to my skin.
It's time to move.
Like he was prepared for the accusation.
It's time to go.
Like he seemed to know something that I didn't.
He do.
His cool expression placated onto such ordinary features made my stomach turn uncomfortably. Like I said, the apartment is empty. Would you like to go and see for yourself? Yeah, actually, I would. My willing response definitely took him aback. He punched again at the laptop nervously. I had no idea what he was typing. After a moment's hesitation, he walked past me towards the elevator. Let's go, sir. 522 first. I've got the key. I followed the guard into the elevator. Something about his demeanor continued to make me cautious.
Watch him.
He seemed confident. Excited, even. At the time, I chalked up the oddity to over-interest in the mystery before us.
You might get got.
You know, it's possible some kids broke in. But I doubt it. These locks are pretty secure.
Even if they did,
I still think you heard a neighbor's TV.
why would they be
I nodded
saying
wordlessly.
help me?
When
Why
the
would
doors
they,
opened again,
why would they
we
keep
marched
saying
together down
help
the hall
me?
towards apartment 522.
Is that a prank?
I waited patiently while he opened the lock and beckoned me inside. It was empty. Our voices echoed across the recently finished floors and furnitureless void inside the studio apartment. I paced around and checked the nooks and crannies. I waited a couple minutes and listened for the voice. I even called out to it. But nobody answered. The only sound I heard were the steady ricochets of raindrops against the windowsills. Satisfied, sir? There's still 524. My newfound friend started to look a little less confident. Look, sir, it's late, and somebody has to watch the desk.
He bullshit.
Do we really need to do this now?
This was
Listen, man, I know what I heard.
security guard
He
playing.
stared at me and studied my demeanor for a moment. I shifted awkwardly, trying to appear more intimidating. Suit yourself, sir. The guard once again flashed a friendly smile as he gestured me out into the hallway and locked up behind us.
Don't smile at me, bruh.
We passed my own apartment on the way towards 524. I thought about going back inside and locking the door. Something about the situation just didn't feel right.
You might get got.
My name is Michael, by the way. What is yours?
Give a fuck what
I'm
you
Matt, I said. Well, Matt, I'm sorry we have to meet under these circumstances. I nodded and waited while Michael opened up the door. His casual attitude continued to make me uncomfortable. 524 wasn't empty. Boxes upon boxes were stacked on the floor with neat little labels on each. Spare kitchen chairs made the studio tough to navigate. Once again, Michael waited by the door, while I navigated the junk and tried to investigate the other rooms. The small corner kitchen contained the usual boilerplate electronics.
Watch him, bruh.
The cupboards appeared untouched and empty.
He's suspect.
A thin line of dust formed over the countertops.
He playing.
I moved on to the bathroom and found a recently renovated shower head sparkling against a fresh paint job. I started to grow jealous and let my guard down a bit. This place looked much nicer than my own apartment. I bet they would be renting it out soon.
It be like that.
I was prepared to write the entire thing off as an odd experience before a voice spoke to me inside the bathroom.
Help me.
See,
It was closer this time,
and again,
in the same room.
don't got time for that.
I nearly jumped out of my skin, but tried to keep my cool around Michael, who was still outside creeping in the hallway. There was a small closet in the bathroom. I opened it. Sitting inside was a teenage girl. She was wearing torn and ragged clothing. Sweat poured down from her brow. It caused her brown hair to become matted and tangled on her forehead. I instinctively covered her mouth and mine after she whispered again.
It's him. He did this.
Oh, see?
Footsteps approached from the hallway. I raised a finger as if to tell her to wait, and closed the door in the poor girl's face. Then I rushed over to the toilet and flushed the handle. The footsteps stopped. Everything all right in there? Yeah, sorry. Just had to use the bathroom. This remodel is really nice. Gotta get you guys to update my apartment. I opened the door and was immediately greeted by a very suspicious-looking security guard. You know, I've got a leaky window frame, too. Who can I talk to about that? Michael stared at me for about 30 seconds. At first, he looked angry. Then, he looked confused. Finally, the suspicion faded from his wrinkled features. Property owner, not me. I laughed awkwardly and pushed past him. I walked out into the hallway in a rush, never bothering to look behind my shoulder as Michael followed anxiously after. I could hear him locking the door to 524 as I jetted towards my own apartment.
You're not gonna save her?
You don't want to check anywhere else? I called out something back to him. I don't remember what.
I'm fine.
The adrenaline coursed through my veins so quickly that my futile attempts at being casual dissipated the moment I got to my door. I fumbled for my keys in my sweatpants pocket. I clacked them awkwardly against the metal lock. Finally, they found a groove and the door handle turned willingly against my hand. Anything else I could do for you tonight?
No, bruh.
Michael had caught up to me.
You good.
He was starting to look suspicious again.
Leave me alone.
I could sense that he might try to stop me.
Check your
I had
apartment.
to think of something.
Check your apartment, bruh.
Sorry, man. That last trip to the bathroom didn't quite cut it. Too much chili, I guess. Gotta go. Michael guffawed over my shoulder as I opened the door and slammed it in his face.
Guffawed.
I tried to wait a few seconds before applying the chain lock.
I haven't heard that in a while.
I waited for his footsteps to fade first. I didn't want to spook him. Only then I released my hand from the handle and collapsed to the floor. The first responders arrived about 10 minutes later. I have to commend them for their speed. Part of me worried that Michael would try to run. Part of me worried that he would go back for the girl. Part of me worried that he might try to come after me.
Yeah.
He didn't. Police rescued the girl from the bathroom closet. Her name was Molly. She was 16 years old. And she wasn't the only one. 7 other women were rescued from empty apartments throughout the complex.
Jeez.
Each identified Michael as their abductor. Apparently, he kept them drugged and locked inside various rooms inside the building.
Oh, wow.
He returned to visit them every night. Most of them were injured. Some of them were unconscious. And one was already dead.
Could that one that was already dead have been somewhere inside room 522? Inside the room where you claim that there was nothing in there? Them twist endings be killing me, boy. From the moment Buddy went downstairs and first interacted with the security guard, he was already suspect with how he kept looking at him, how he was acting, and all that. It was already suspect. I'm glad you didn't get got, though. Never take your eyes off a creepy motherfucker, suspicious motherfucker, or whatever. Never take your eyes off them. Be suspicious of everyone around you. That's how I am. Everybody is suspect until I interact with you and get a good vibe, or you disappear from my surroundings. That's just how I am. It's not paranoia. I'm just sharp on all 4 corners. Shout out E40. But that is all, y'all. That rhymed. That is it for this video, y'all. If you like my reaction, like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe. And tap the bell icon so you will be notified every time I drop new content, which I do on a weekly basis. I will leave links in the description to Creepypasta Jr.'s channel, along with the link to this original video so y'all can see it for yourselves. That is all I have for y'all this time around. Your boy Steph is out.